Now it's recording when you see that red stuff.
So, and they can handle I wanted to put, I bought so much, I bought a flat panel that was a heater. I put heaters on the floor, I put heaters on the floor, cleaned up with shavings. Yes, but they didn't need that. I did buy it.
Do a test with her and see how it works.
Oh, we already did.
Oh, you tried it?
Water jug.
Hi, everyone. Can we have your attention, please? We're going to go ahead and start. I know everybody's time is valuable. My name is Roger Sanchez. This is our Archuleta County, second Archuleta County Candidates Forum. And at the moment, we have two attendees. One is attending by phone. Her name is Rachel Suh. She is running for Archuleta County Commissioner. And the other attendee here is Wayne Bryant. He is also running for Archuleta County Sheriff. We also do have the other two sheriff candidates, Monica Medina and Mike LaRue. They have been invited to attend for at least a couple of weeks. One has openly declined. The other one, I'm hoping she will make it. We'll see. And the other candidate for Archuleta County Commissioner is Monica Medina. She has been invited. She has openly declined to attend as well. I'm going to go ahead and set some of the ground rules for this forum. First things first, we do have to keep pressing this thing just to keep it on. We do have those bins over there, different questions. I have questions related to specifically the sheriffs, people running for sheriff, the candidates for commissioner. I have a jar for questions for all candidates, and I have another jar of questions for individual candidates, whether you want to ask a question directly to Mike, to Wayne, to Rachel, Monica, Veronica, whomever. I will be, whatever question I pull out of the bins there, whether it's going to be addressed to somebody directly here who's in attendance or not, I will still openly ask it because I want the question out there. This is a forum and a debate and a public Q&A for you Archuleta County residents. You know, that's what it's for. We don't need any behind the scenes, closed doors things in this county. If people want our vote, they should be up front and out here with us, transparent. So, rule number one, I will allow clapping and applause, and hopefully it doesn't go a little overboard, but I think that civil engagement like that is necessary to show approval or disapproval of whatever you want. Rule number two, I won't, where is it here? If I read a question and I personally determine it to be inappropriate, slanderous, or unrelated regarding any capacity, official capacity for the position that these representatives, potential representatives are going to be directed towards, I will both state my opinion to everybody here regarding that said question, but I will also allow the candidate to read the question in private to determine if they wish to answer it or not. The last rule I have is we're going to keep the discussion for county issues only, unless a state, national, or global issue has direct relation to Archuleta County. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and allow Rachel Suh, our Archuleta County Commissioner, running for Archuleta County Commissioner, to go ahead and give her opening statements. Rachel, whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Roger, and thanks everybody for coming to the candidate forum. My name is Rachel Suh, and I am running as the unaffiliated candidate for District 3 County Commissioner here in Archuleta County. I am a constitutionalist. I have 18 years of historical case law legal analysis related to the Constitution with the Supreme Court. My specialization
Thank you, Rachel. I'm going to go ahead and hand the mic over to Wayne. And Wayne, if you want to give your opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I feel bad for Rachel. Last forum that we had before the primary, I had the flu and I couldn't come, and Bill Hudson was kind enough to allow me to answer questions on the phone, which was very gracious, so I was able to make that one. So now Rachel's feeling bad. So as this flu season goes around, what determined me to decide to run goes back to 2011. How many of you have been here that long? Great. We had, a group of us, the Archuleta County Guard, we decided that we had to do something because our judicial system was getting out of control. So we had 11 ballot initiatives. We went around and we got 600 signatures for each of those ballot initiatives. Todd Starr at that time was the county attorney. He tried to put the squash on it by saying that we violated the statute of limitations, which we did not. Judge Wilson did not listen to our case. We ran this case and it's still going on over attorney's fees since 2011. We at that point saw that when we presented, at that time, Richie Valdez, the fraud that Judge Wilson and that the BOCC at that time had committed to keep those ballot initiatives off the ballot. Because basically what it was, the ballot initiatives were for us to take back our government. And we got waylaid all the way up to the state Supreme Court. They would not hear the case. We had fraud. We had conspiracy on them. And it frustrated a lot of us. And it got to the point where just before the COVID thing hit, they hit us with the attorney's fees. Now, several of them have not paid. But those of us that did pay, we had to pay almost $20,000 in attorney's fees. And if we did not, they were going to throw contempt charges on us and throw us in jail in 30 days. This was our county attorney and the board, the BOCC, 3 of them or 2 of them are there now that forced this on us. And so I sat back and I thought, wow, what are we going to do? How can we take back our county? And I guess during the COVID time, it was, I'm trying to think, Bethany Cole had started the Healthy and Wise group, and she inspired me again, because there again, during the COVID thing, we saw the divide and conquer. We saw how an unconstitutional organization, the San Juan Health Board, was throwing mandates. Mandates are not laws, they are suggestions. We saw businesses shut down, and the sheriff did nothing to stop it. Agree or disagree with the vaccine and all that stuff, our rights were being taken away then. And at that particular point, I decided, we need to step up and do something about it again. And the only office that actually has the authority to put the stop to a lot of this and bring back our constitutional rights is the sheriff. And the sheriff's job is to protect and defend your constitutional rights. That's the bottom line. And he has to do that, and we have not seen that. Instead, we have seen just the opposite. Back the last election, Rob Keeney, he turned up the 1033. Remember, everybody, the 1033? Where the sheriff's department gets excessive military surplus, unaccountable, and they were selling it and pocketing the money. Rob turned that up, and of course they whitewashed it because the judges are just as bad as the sheriff, as the BOCC. Everybody was covering up this stuff, and this was criminal. I mean, this is our money. And then we seen what happened to Mr. Manzanares recently, this last February, when 2 deputies that eventually they resigned, they should have been fired right then, took this gentleman down. I mean, he has frontier towing. He used to be a volunteer deputy for 20 years. He's the kindest man that I've ever met. Wonderful man. How many even know Jerry? He's a great guy. And then, of course, we had the mistrials thing with Mr. Chris Mays just recently, front page news again, where the deputies were using Zoom to zoom in on I guess client attorney privilege issues that were going on. Now, if this was done intentionally or not, I do not know at this point, but my speculation, it was done intentionally, so that way it would be thrown out of court. The venue moved to Durango. We, the taxpayers, are going to pay more again. And here we go. The amount of of corruption that's going on in our sheriff's department. We have good deputies that have resigned over the last year. I've talked to several of them. I'm going to bring them back because they could not stand it, because their job is to protect and serve us. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So that's what inspired me to run, was we have to do something. And I'm 69 years old. I'm not a professional politician. I'm not a professional police officer by no means. But you know what? I know what's right and wrong, and I know how to administer it. And I'll tell you what, this county needs to be cleaned up, because there is so much going on. Let's look at the tax thing, for instance, right now. Worst possible time in the world to throw a tax out there. And I just believe that this is just criminal. How can we, with the price of gas, the price of food, with the amount of people that are unemployed, expect to do a tax increase? A bed tax would be the best way to go for that. And I have the authority as sheriff to protect and defend your constitutional rights. And if I have to, when I'm elected, I will stop in and I will put a stop to that. We will not allow that tax to go through, because it is criminal. So here we are. That's why I'm running, because I'm fed up with it, like a lot of you are. And thank you all for showing up, because enough is enough, people. We have to do something, and that's why I'm doing this. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Just a reminder again, I do have these bins up here for the new people who just walked in. You can ask whatever question you want. You can see the labels on the bottles, on the jugs, sorry, and you can submit your questions to whomever you want. I'll be reading them out. Thank you. Now we're going to start with the first, sorry about that. Now we're going to start with the first question. This one was directed to all candidates. I'm going to go ahead and let Wayne answer this one first. Wayne, will you rule as a constitutional county?
That is my sworn duty to do that, is to protect your constitutional rights. And I will not enforce any unconstitutional statute, mandate, code, regulation, because these things tend to get out of hand. Bureaucrats write these things up, and the BOC just passes them because they go by the suggestion of a bar attorney, Todd Weaver, at this particular point. They all look to him over there. And even if it's unconstitutional, they go right along with it, and I will not support that. No, they will be held accountable for that. If it is not constitutional under common law, which our country was founded on, I will not enforce it, and I will penalize those that do try and violate our constitutional rights.
Thank you. Now, Rachel, you have 2 minutes. Do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Will you run as a constitutional county?
Yes, absolutely. That is the bottom line for me. That is actually why I am running. It is so imperative that we get back a government that is following the Constitution and the rule of law. On one side of the paradigm, we have personal, private, and government interests that are ever expanding government. It is insane how rapid that is happening. On the other side, we have lawlessness and chaos. And I believe the reason why we are feeling so disjointed and so divided as a community is because we have allowed these two paradigms to wreak havoc on our community. Our founding fathers were geniuses in creating the Constitution. The Constitution is a one-of-a-kind document. And the reason why they had to create the Constitution is because it is the middle ground from personal, private, government interest and lawlessness. So I believe 100% in the Constitution itself, because the Constitution is backed by the American people, and I believe in the American people. So I will work diligently to make sure that the county goes back underneath the Constitution and follows the Constitution for all of its regulations and all of its expenditures.
Thank you for your answer, Rachel. Now I have a question. Let's see here. Now I have a question. I pulled it from the questions for commissioner candidates. Rachel, this is going to be a question for you. And also too, if you guys know the other representatives who are, or potential representatives who are running for office and they're not here, or they're not attending via phone, feel free to ask them these questions and post them online if they wish to answer them to the public. Here's the question, Rachel. I own property in town, but live in county. Why can't I vote in town? You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, the town has annexed only a very limited amount of the county into town limits. The state has requirements on how much a town can annex of the county. So I'm actually really disappointed in seeing people actually have addresses that say Pagosa Springs, but live in the county, and because of that, they cannot vote. So this is an issue where we have to actually pass like a referendum and have people continuously work on annexing out the town throughout the county. So if I remember correctly, now this is something that I looked up several months ago, it can only be about 6 miles at a time. So considering the county is about 45 miles in area, it's going to take quite a significant amount of time, and I do not believe that this is the representation that Archuleta County deserves in regards to town issues.
Thank you, Rachel. A lot in here for sheriff.
I'm in trouble.
I'm gonna be giving you a break here, Rachel. So, question. Mike LaRue, Veronica, and Monica Medina. Okay, I feel it's appropriate. What are you afraid of? Why do the other candidates' signs keep being taken down and not yours? Any thoughts? They aren't here to answer that question, but again, go ahead and ask them, or at least share this video with them to answer those questions if they wish.
What, can I answer that?
You weren't named on there.
Oh, okay.
Trying to be fair here.
Yeah, if you want me to
Sorry,
answer
Wayne.
it, I'm more than happy to answer it.
Well, you're in luck because you have this one right here.
Uh-oh.
Wayne Bryant, what changes do you feel are necessary in the Sheriff's Department? I will give you 2 minutes.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's a broad question. A lot of changes need to be done. We have been, and let me start with this because I've lived here a long time. One of the things that we have done is we've turned a blind eye to the drug issue in this community. We have allowed the fentanyl, the heroin, and the meth. I knew when I moved up to Aspen Springs back in 2006, there was 4 or 5 meth labs up there, and nobody was doing anything about it. And there's still meth labs up there. I know down in Arborlees, there's meth labs and there's fentanyl coming across the state lines right now. And what happens is when the deputies try and get down there to get them, after 2 hours of waiting, they just go across the state line. The drugs is a paramount issue. We are turning a blind eye to that, and we can't. These are our children that are getting these things, and the fentanyl's coming across like candy. And there's a lot of deaths that are occurring from this. The meth, we had a meth house blow up just, 3 or 4 months ago up on Curtis up there. And thank God it blew the propane tank out and put the fire out, because if that fire would have continued, we'd have lost a lot of our force up there. So that's one issue. The other issue is turnover. We have a huge turnover that's going on in our Sheriff's Department, because people that are coming in want to protect our constitutional rights. They want to protect and serve, and they're basically being routed out, and they leave. And that's unfortunate. So the manpower issue has to be, the manpower issue has to be addressed as well. Plus, the main thing that's happening is trust. Trust with our department has faded. Look at Gerald Manzanares, for instance. It wasn't even given a ticket, a citation, and he was taken down on the ice, and he was injured and thrown in jail. We cannot allow that to happen. So those are, is my time up?
if you want to finish your.
Okay, so those are just the three things right now that I'm gonna be taking a look at. Plus, we also have the jail that's undermanned right now, and we also have a courthouse that's not being utilized to its fullest extent. So I'm gonna be looking at all these things. One of the things I'm gonna be doing too is I'm gonna be having a 6-week constitutional course for everybody to be invited. And what we're gonna do then is once we go through that course, we're gonna go through training. I'm gonna deputize as many people that are willing to be deputized in the communities because the response time is too slow. The people, like say in the Vista, for instance, there's people in there that know who the people are that are running the drugs. If we deputize them, give them the authority to go there and apprehend them until we can get there and arrest them, I think that's going to be a wonderful thing to do. We're going to have a lot of volunteers in the communities that are going to be trained and have vehicles that thereby they can start addressing these issues. Thank you.
You definitely need to be a thumbnail or a thumb wrestling champion to hold this mic.
Somebody broke it over the weekend.
Oh. Okay, everyone. This question is out of the commissioner's jar. Rachel, so this is directed to you. What will you do about the roads? You have 2 minutes.
Well, the first thing that we need to do is hire civil engineers and landscape architects who actually know what they're doing. In talking to several people who are pretty much experts in asphalt, I have realized that we are using the wrong types of material for our weather conditions here. We are also having issues with the magnesium chloride actually not preventing dust. So we spent, if I remember correctly, about $840,000 on just applying magnesium chloride to the roads, to the dirt roads here. And I live on a dirt road. I live on 335 on the Lower Blanco, and I can tell you that that road was in disrepair within a matter of days. It was really awesome here a couple weeks ago to see the road be completely redone beautifully by county employees, only to have it rain 3 days later and all of their hard work was obliterated. So we need to figure out better sustainable solutions to the road. My stepdad was actually a pavement striper back in Illinois for 17 years, and so I have an idea about the types of materials that we would need to use here. Also, I would like to start a public education campaign. This is a shout out to Dale Schmidt, actually, who told me, Rachel, if you see dust in your back window, then you need to slow down. You're going too fast on these dirt roads. And so I have been very conscious of how fast I'm going on my road. And even though it says, you can go 35 miles an hour on here, really the dust starts to kick up monumentally at about 20 miles an hour. So I have taken that into consideration, and I would like to start a public education campaign where if you see dust, slowing down is a must. This is necessary for all of the visitors that we have coming to the county. 375,000 tourists coming here every single year. We need to educate them on how to drive on our roads until we can put permanent asphalt down. Thank you.
As you guys may have guessed, I stopped doing the 2-minute rule. I don't have any questions left in here. But I am sorry about that. I am going to be opening the mic up for people who wish to ask questions. So feel free to think of some right now. We got one last one, and this one happens to be for both of you. Or no. Okay. This one is for Veronica Medina. Do you promise to abide by the Constitution supremely every day and research if necessary? Anonymous. So if you guys do know Rachel personally, please
Veronica.
ask her that. I'm sorry. Veronica, please let her know that there was a question directly for her here. At this time, if anybody wants to submit any other questions, you're more than able to. Does anybody in the audience want to ask any of the candidates present or not present any questions?
Miara Isley, and I'm just wondering, when Rachel, you get into office, how are you going to deal with the other two commissioners there to get them to ante up and work with the Constitution as well?
Rachel, were you able to hear that?
If I heard that properly, I'm going to repeat it. How can I get the other two commissioners to work with me under the Constitution?
Exactly.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Okay, great. You know, I've had an interesting interaction with both Ronnie Days and Warren Brown. I don't know if necessarily they are purposefully not following the Constitution, but perhaps they are just not aware of what is going on. We do have somebody who is administrating the county who is not an elected official, and that is the county attorney, Todd Weaver. Based on my interactions a couple of times with the commissioners, I'm under the impression that they feel they do not need to do their due diligence because Todd Weaver will give them the answer. And so my job is going to be to provide that alternative answer that Todd Weaver is not providing. An example of that would be the marijuana land use regulation and how they were looking at a specific statute on criminal marijuana cultivation. And they were looking at a section A for this cultivation when really what they needed to point out was section B. So I'm just going to be that very vocal voice amongst us to let them know that there are alternative ways to look at the law other than Todd Weaver and his perspective. From there, I hope that they realize on a regular basis that they can also do their due diligence. I have heard from one of the commissioners that he does not want me to be the only person bailing out water from a sinking ship. So I am hoping if I'm elected that I have already got one of the commissioners willing to work with me, and it's just going to take lots of encouragement that the other one does too.
Thank you, Rachel. I failed to recall that there was a questionnaire that I had on the Facebook page where I allowed people to ask questions, and there was some very good ones on there. So I'm going to go ahead and read some of them. In the meantime, if anybody does have any other questions, again, you can remain anonymous if you want. Just fill out and put in the jar. Let's see here. There it is. Okay. This one is a question for Mike LaRue. I know he's not here. My question is for Mike LaRue. I'm of the understanding that he wants to do forced vaccinations and will call FEMA in to help force people against their will to be vaccinated. Is this true? And what about the talk about arresting Wayne Bryant if he is elected? My question on that is why aren't any of the law enforcement already serving in the sheriff's department under arrest for all the corruption? I'm gonna have to add the word alleged in there, sorry. All the corruption against citizens in Archuleta County. The incident with Gerald Manzanares, the incident with some officers helping each other harass, intimidate innocent people, to many cases to write them all down. Why do they take an oath to protect and serve if they don't do what they are hired to do? We pay them to protect and serve, not to harass and be corrupt. And why did we get a jail built when it was voted down? Now they want more tax money. Why should we have to pay more tax money for them to misuse funds again? Now I know this question wasn't directed to Wayne, but your name was mentioned in here. Do you feel like responding to any of this?
Yeah, certainly do. Why do you think I'm running? Just because of this kind of stuff going on. And Mr. LaRue is going to inherit Richie's enterprise. That's the bottom line. And nothing is going to change. It's going to get worse. Yes, I go to a lot of the BOCC meetings. I've listened to Mr. LaRue brag that how he was courting FEMA for the next round of vaccinations coming up right now. Sometime this fall between now and Christmas. And he was proud of that. I do not want to have a alphabet agency come in and tell me what I can and cannot do with my body, and I hope you all feel the same way. This just irks me to no end. Now, I'm going to mispronounce her name, so the head of the San Juan agency up here, what's her name?
Leanne Jolin.
Leanne Jolin. She just got her contract renewed, $179,000 with a $10,000 bonus. Where do you think our money's going? For her, she has no medical background, and she is telling us and telling our governments and our schools to shut down, to have social distancing, what they can and cannot do. As a matter of fact, was it 2.5 months ago in the Durango Herald, did you read the front page? They've got all the vaccines already ready for us. How do they know what vaccine for what virus there is? I mean, how many flus do we have out there right now? There's hundreds of them. And for them to already have something ready to go, this just tells me that there's an issue. A huge issue, and I do not trust them at this particular point right now. I'm sorry. I cannot. And as the sheriff, I will not allow the FEMA to come in. We will meet them at the border with our volunteers. We will not force people to take something they do not want to take. We will not shut down our schools. We will not shut down our businesses, because this is our livelihood. These are our lives, not for some government agency to tell us what we can and cannot do.
Thank you, Wayne. Now I have one other question, and this is also from one of my reminder posts 3 days ago. This person asks, it's a long one, where in the Constitution are sheriffs mentioned? Hint, nowhere. Does that make them unconstitutional? Does the Constitution establish 3 separate but equal branches of government? Is the job of a sheriff to ignore or override those 3 branches of constitutional government? If it is the job of the sheriff to be the executive, legislative, and judicial wrapped in one, who oversees that sheriff? Absolute power corrupts absolutely, right? Has the candidate, this is directed to you, been endorsed by the CSPOA or Sheriff Mack, or is he just blooming on to deceive the easily led? Beware wolves in sheep clothing, and do not get Ray-Epsed by an agent provocateur. I didn't write this, but here we go. Wayne, if you want to respond.
Thank you. I'll start with the last one first. When I lived in Arizona back in 1996, I ran for Congress. I was very concerned. At that time, I was a labor leader, and I represented several thousand steam fitters and plumbers and mechanical workers in Arizona. And I ran on 2 issues, the NAFTA agreement and the GATT agreement. How many of you even know what the GATT agreement is? The GATT agreement is the General Agreement on Trades and Tariffs. This was slipped in under the Clinton administration right behind the NAFTA agreement when nobody was looking. This agreement was another 20-year agreement like the NAFTA agreement was. I got the summary of this 22,000-page document. The summary was that thick. And what it basically did is it gave China all of our technology. Here we are 20 years later. Who runs us right now? This is because of that GATT agreement. When I ran for that, I met Sheriff Mack over in Graham County, over in Safley. And I talked with him about that. We had a lot of concerns about the border issues. My family has a small ranch on the border outside Nogales, Arizona. And we were getting inundated. And the people of Douglas and Cochise County were also getting inundated. So we had a lot of border issues, and I got to know Sheriff Mack back then. I got to know him even again when we had our initiatives here. I don't know how many remember, but we packed the Ross Aragon Center when Sheriff Mack came here, and we all went out to dinner afterwards. Now, I've been in touch with him, not a lot because he's a busy man, but yes, he has a Zoom program that we are going to use. He will come in as needed. We're also going to get Hillsdale College. They have a 101 course that we're going to train our sheriffs and local people in. And there's also the Patriot Academy that's out there too that I've been emailing. And there's other different constitutional sheriffs that I've been emailing right now, because there's a lot of sheriffs right now that are concerned the direction that our country is going. Not a lot, but there's a lot. And so I'm in contact with them, and I'm proud and honored to be a part of this thing. This is amazing that people are coming together for this. As far as what the sheriff's responsibility is, the sheriff's responsibility is to protect and defend your constitutional rights. It doesn't matter if it's legislative or if it's executive or if it's the judicial branches. That is the primary job. And if that job happens to go into those different branches, that's exactly what I'll do. There was something that I wanted to read to you all, because a few months ago I put out a little snippet about the history from 1604 to the 1871 change of our Constitution, when it went from the Constitution to a corporation constitution. How many of you are aware of that change? And it was a huge change. And what happened at that particular time is it allowed bar attorneys to come in and rewrite our language, which we're seeing how everything has been written today. How many of you can represent yourselves in court anymore without hiring an attorney? You can't. It's almost impossible because the language has changed. But our founding fathers did one great thing during the Articles of Confederation. They put in the 13th Amendment. Lincoln changed the 13th Amendment, but the original 13th Amendment is still in the Constitution today under Article 1, Section 9. No title of nobility shall be granted by the United States, and no person holding any office of profit or trust under them shall, without the consent of the Congress, accept of any present enrollment, office, or title of any kind whatsoever from any king, prince, or foreign state. We have a foreign state, folks. Look around. You can see it. This is what I'm going to do. We have almost every member of Congress, almost every member of the legislature. They are all bar attorneys. And we need to get rid of that, and that gives me the authority to do that. There will be arrest. They have violated our Constitution by taking over our government, and that gives me the authority to go over those three branches of government to do that.
Is anybody else ready to ask a question?
Oh, come on, somebody.
Ellen?
Yeah, I just wanted you to elaborate on that last question that you had asked about talk of them arresting Wayne. Why?
Oh,
Yeah. I didn't.
that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, I read it somewhere, but I
Oh.
didn't know anything about it.
Well, anytime you want to challenge the government, and let me use Tina Peters as an example of that. How many are aware of what's been happening to Tina Peters? Excuse me. Tina Peters was the county recorder for Mesa County up there in Grand Junction. She exposed the Dominion machine issue of how our votes were being taken away from us, and how a private corporation, a third party, Dominion, what does Dominion mean, came in, and before they came in, she got the records and she took them up to Michael and Dale up in Montana. He was at a big old conference back then, and she exposed the Dominion. Her family their house was broken into, her husband and her daughter were roughed up. She was thrown in jail for a short period of time. She came back out, she ran for Secretary of State, and they did the same thing to her again. She spent $250,000 trying to get a hand count on the votes, and they didn't allow her to do it again. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong on this, or if I think they arrested her and she's still in jail. Does anybody know if she's out yet or not? I don't know, but last I heard she was still in jail for that, for standing up for your rights. Well, you know what? We have a lot of veterans. How many of you are veterans in this room? You served, and a lot of veterans gave their lives for this Constitution. And by God, if we don't stand up and protect those things, I'm willing to put myself on that block too, because this is very important. We need to stand up and say, no, enough is enough, and protect our rights in our great republic. Because if not, this is going to continue to happen. I hope we fill up the jailhouses where there's no more room, because this is part of the game that they're going to play. They're going to intimidate, and they already have. And if they're going to arrest me, well, that's just the chance I'm going to take. But you know what? If veterans of our wars have fought and given up their lives for our great republic and for freedom, by God, that puts me on that same category, and I'm honored to be in that category and to be representing you, and if that means I go, I go.
Thank you, Wayne. Rachel, I think I have a question for you, and I thought of this just a moment ago. We have that 1.5% tax increase measure being put on our ballot. We've noticed time and again in Archuleta County that no matter what the people's will is, some of our constituents, they decide that they're going to overstep our collective thought and desires and go against us. They've done this multiple times. How would you handle something like that? If you have two other representatives with you, or maybe anybody in town or county, whatever, however this works in the future, how would you be handling something like that?
Yeah, I actually would probably go to our insurance provider and ask them about the legality of taking out a debt bond that is voted down twice by the electorate. This could be considered intentional malfeasance and misconduct. And, an insurance company, once they're aware of the situation, if we move forward with misconduct, now I must state that I am the official no on 1A candidate, and at the last candidate forum, I told you all unequivocally I will not be raising your taxes while I am in office. That is just not going to happen. So it would be the other two commissioners voting for this, that they would not be covered if, for example, the electors sued them. So this is the way that I would handle this if I were in office. I would obviously be voting no against taking out a debt bond for their unending, bloated bureaucracy and growth. To me, it looks like they really want security in their jobs, and this is why they are ever expanding the bureaucracy and county government. I am on the San Juan Water Conservancy District Board, and part of our job is to find out realistically what our population growth could look like. I am not seeing the same type of growth that the Community Development Corporation is stating we are going to have, or that the county is stating that we are going to have. So I'm going to be very honest with the residents of Archuleta County and let them know I don't think that we need to expand our government bureaucracy. We do not need new buildings, and we certainly don't need to raise taxes for roads and bridges because they're taking away all of the funds that they already currently get so that they can build new buildings. So I just cannot support this in any way, and I would encourage the electorate to take these issues into their own hands when it comes to making sure that insurance does not cover that type of misconduct. Now, I have this position because my husband is a professional lines commercial insurance broker, and he has been assisting me on trying to resolve the situation where the county government no longer has to be held liable because there are 41 out of 64 counties who currently pool on a $6 million insurance policy with his company, as a matter of fact, to prevent lawsuits against them. And so basically, if any of these 41 counties right now have a claim against them for up to $10 million a year, they only have to pay $5,000. So essentially, our government officials have no accountability with misconduct because insurance companies are willing to cover those claims.
Thank you for that, Rachel. Appreciate it. Man.
Your thumb gets tired.
Anybody else have a question? And if you're more comfortable with asking a question without the camera facing you, I can have it face this way. Anybody else have a question? You can turn it. And yeah, it's really hard in that.
This question is for Rachel. I recently read in the paper that they are going to, double property values for some areas. And, last time they tried that, I went to the assessor's office many times trying to get an explanation of how they figure the property tax rate and how they figure the property value. And it was explained to me over and over, and I never understood how they go about it. So what can be done about having your property value double when you don't believe that the property has doubled in value?
Thank you for that question. Rachel, here you go.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. This is actually a state issue, not a county issue. The state allows the counties to assess basically off of a speculative market. So I have a great example. I have a neighbor who's currently crushing stone at his residential property. It causes an excessive amount of noise, and the county will not shut him down. So other neighbors have complained ad nauseum, and they tell them that he can do this. He has a very close neighbor who's actually tried to put his property up for sale, and two realtors have told him that it will not be possible to sell his home until the rock crushing stops. So essentially, he has a $600,000 house that is worth nothing. And his property value doubled last year because he finished his renovations. And they're going to double again, yes, in 2023. They are assessing these values based off of, like, earlier this year's value, which we all know is speculative. So we had peak market February, March, April, and then we started to see the downturn in May. And then after the short-term rental moratorium in August, we've basically seen a standstill of the real estate market. But that doesn't matter according to property value assessment here at the county. So as much as I would like to fix this at the county level, really what I would, the only solution I can present to put forward is to put a freeze on raising property values due to the economic conditions that we're currently in and going to suffer more of, I believe, after the election. This is a state issue in which we actually have to challenge whether the state has jurisdiction to allow property value to be assessed based on a speculative market. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. The mic was having a weird moment towards the end there. I apologize to everybody. I guess we do have another question up here. Let's see here. Okay. I will openly state this. It seems like it's relevant to an extent, so I will. There is a relation to things happening here. So, okay. Is Monica Medina, who is the sheriff's candidate, formerly allegedly corrupt, removed in 2017, 2018? Are her and Veronica Medina, commissioner candidate, related? And is Monica Medina the wife of Sergeant Sinclair? Anonymous. I guess if you want to ask that question to Monica and or Veronica, it sounds like we might need to know. So, yeah, I don't see any other questions here. And does anybody else have anything that popped into their mind? I guess we will. Oh, let me give you the mic from the champion here.
At the last meeting, this was brought up, and it was stated by someone there that Veronica stated that she and Monica are not related. Just for the record, I don't really know, very similar names, but supposedly they're not related.
Thank you for that clarification. We only have 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and offer Wayne and Rachel closing statements. I'll go ahead and let Rachel start. Rachel, my thumb hurts, so here you go.
All right, yeah, I'll make it quick. Thank you all so much for asking these questions. They were actually new questions. About 90% of them were new, which is great because this gets even more information out to the general public. I just want you all to know that I am probably one of the most transparent and openly available candidates here at the county level. I have ways for you to contact me in all of my ads. You can email me, you can call me, you can even just chat on my website. I am happy to respond to you. I respond fairly quickly, and I am always open to deeper communication, whether we meet in person or we talk over the phone. I have had people ask me brand new questions like tonight, such as what am I going to do for tribal relations, and how do I feel about having the removal of words like squaw from our roads and our other like subdivisions. And I want you all to know that I approach every issue that we have with consideration from individuals in the public. So I am always looking to have advisory committees or citizen committees that are open to the public. I will never ask for advisory committees and then have you sign a non-disclosure agreement. I believe that government should be transparent and available to all, and I believe that our government officials need to encourage everybody in the community to participate and know that they are safe in their participation. I do not want you to ever feel like you are being retaliated against by your government, and I will be as transparent and available to you as possible. Thank you so much for giving me your time tonight, and if you think of any other questions that you didn't think of tonight, please feel free to contact me. I am open and available to you.
Thank you, Rachel. And if anybody wanted that website, it's rachelsunshinesuh.com. And I'll go ahead and give the mic to Wayne for your closing statements.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'd like to read it to you. Jefferson wrote this in the Declaration of Independence, and I'm sure you have all heard it before, and we need to hear it again. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that's us, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is our right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government. That's our mandate, folks. That's exactly what we have to do. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm running, because it is up to us to take back our government. It is unfortunate that we sat back for years and allowed this to happen, but now we're up against the wall. And I don't know how many of you, if you've read my card, on the back of my card, let me get my cheaters back on, old age. Galatians 5:1, stand fast, therefore, in the liberty within Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. And I have that on my cards because that's exactly where we're at. So that's why I'm running, and those are pretty much the bottom line of how I feel of what needs to be done. And I'm going to need all of yours help, because I'm not going to be able to do this all by myself. This is going to take all of us to do this, and I'm hoping that I can count on you because that's it. We have to take it back. This could be our last opportunity. If we look around the world, they're threatening nuclear war on us right now. Our economy's about to collapse. Our dollar's about to fold. We are in serious trouble, and we have to be able to take it back county by county, and that is the sheriff's responsibility to do that. So I thank you for entrusting me with that. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for showing up. It's not my point to say, what my position is on anything, but it's awesome to see this many people in this room who are serious about their county, who are serious about who they want to get into office, whether it's him, Monica, or Mike, whether it's Rachel Suh or Veronica Medina for your any of these positions in Archuleta County. Then it's good that you guys all showed up here and spread the word. I will be posting this online probably within the next 24 hours, so please share with your friends. Again, if you're here and any of the candidates who you're voting for didn't show up, feel free to ask them those questions or ask them your own questions. The main reason for bringing this together was because I've seen a lot of certain candidates go public and talk to we the people in the county, and I've seen others who haven't talked to we the people in the county. And I wanted to give this the second opportunity we have provided, and just wanted to make sure that the offer was out there for them. If you want to serve the people, if you want to be a public servant, and that's the word servant, you have to be out there with the people and see what they want. And that was the whole reason for this.
Where will you be posting this?
I have a YouTube. Can you hear me okay? Okay. I have a YouTube channel called United for Freedom. And if you type in United for Freedom Pagosa, you'll find it. You can also type in the form with today's date. It'll show up right away. Yes, Nira? I don't know how you thought of it now.
Well, let's go on purpose. Okay, one of the things that I've suggested that we do is have a prayer vigil for these candidates that are running. Prayer vigil for their protection, a prayer vigil that we take the county for our county commissioner, Rachel Suh, and our sheriff candidate, Wayne Bryant. We have Dominion machines up against us. We have people that want to cheat up against us. We have the good old boy network in this county that wants to defeat us and probably do worse to us. And I think we really need to do a prayer vigil. We need to visualize what it would mean for us to have our county commissioner be Rachel Suh with the others, that we have Wayne Bryant as our sheriff.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't allow that. It's the neutral.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that we're going to do this, and if you want to be part of it, let us know.
All right, everybody. Thank you for your time, and I believe maybe Wayne might be here to speak with you if you have questions for him. Thanks again.
Thank you for coming.
Sorry about that. No problem. Thank you, Rachel. Have a good night. This posting is in the link to you as well.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming. How are you? Thank you for coming. Oh, I'm glad it's almost over. I was down in Archuleta yesterday, and I parked my truck, and I tried to get my tent up. The wind was raining, and I finally got one corner tied down, and the other got the dogs in the truck. Finally got the door opened up. And, I was there for 3 hours in the rain. But, I promised them I was going to read down, and some people did short, so I did. But, oh my. I got back home last night, I turned off the cell phone, and Yeah, we got what, 2 meetings? So, so we'll see how the Dominion machine goes. That's gonna be the tricky part of that machine. And I went to, we did a mock selection. Christie and the judges showed us how they go through the process, which they did a wonderful job. And the problem is after that's done, the Dominion comes in, they lock the door, they put their thumb drives in, they turn on the internet, and you know they can skew the and we've seen it happen. We saw it happen with the last actual election. We saw it happen again with some leaders because they did it to her again as they did the recount. They went and let her have the recount. And we petitioned the COTC, and they're supposed to be Republicans. And they will not do ahead. One of the lines and so, yeah, we did because I think our most sacred things are being able to vote people that you want in office is being taken away. And I don't know if you saw the 2000 mil video. And you know, that was they were searching that in real time. There was not really on the that's the FBI. That's why I'm going to stand up against it. Because they're out there. That's our battle. It is one tech battle. So hopefully we're going down 5 minutes. Hang in there.